You dragged yourself to this peak, didn't you? Crawling through the dirt like someone begging for scraps, like a soul that's never tasted true starvation. You came searching for truth. You came looking for transformation. But what I'm about to say won't bring you comfort. It'll set you free. So listen carefully. They called you a beast, right? Those same faces. The ones who stared at you like you were nothing. Like you were too insignificant. Too fragile to even register. They witnessed the spark you carried. That flame burning in your chest. And what did they do? They extinguished it. They stomped it out like it meant nothing. They craved something sinister, something warped, something that would make them tremble. Well, congratulations. You're about to deliver exactly what they ordered. You believe this world shows mercy. Think again. This world owes you absolutely nothing. Existence is brutal. Existence is merciless. You think a single person out there will shed tears for your losses, for the blood you spilled trying. They'll erase your memory before nightfall. They'll ridicule your wounds and label you pathetic before turning away like you never drew breath. So, if you're after their recognition, if you want them to feel the inferno they ignited in your soul, then stop playing the victim. Stop crying out for compassion. Compassion never rescued anyone. It sure as hell won't rescue you. They view you as something savage. Perfect. Prove them absolutely correct. Show them what a trapped predator does when there's nowhere left to flee. You rip through everything blocking your path. You collect their venom, their skepticism, their cutting remarks, and you forge them into blades. You're searching for power. It's already yours. It lives in the agony they inflicted, every deception they fed you, every moment they abandoned you. That's where your force originates. But hear me now, because this is where most lose their way. Don't become a beast for their sake. Become one for yourself. You're not here to validate anything to anyone. You owe nothing to this world that attempted to bury you alive. This is about survival. This is about staring into your reflection and accepting the darkness they planted inside you without shame. Want to know why they despise creatures like you? It's not the teeth, the talons, or the fire blazing in your gaze. It's because creatures like you don't care. They do as they please. They refuse to submit to regulations. They don't play polite. They don't grovel for leftovers. And that terrifies them. They wanted you domesticated. They wanted you shattered. Yet here you stand on this summit, refusing to fall. You sense it, don't you? That frozen emptiness deep within. That's what remains after the world stripped away your gentleness. That's where your true strength emerges, from absolute nothing. And now you're here staring at me, seeking what? Approval, permission. You won't receive that from me. No praise, no encouragement. If you want to claim the summit, you'd better prepare to battle for every single step. Nobody else is making this climb for you. Listen closely. Life isn't some narrative. You're not the champion in a children's story. Champions get massacred. They get erased, crushed beneath the burden of their own virtue. Want to be a champion? Go ahead. Sacrifice yourself for some forgotten cause. But if you want to survive, if you want victory, then abandon that champion mentality. Start thinking like a predator. Scorch the forest. Poison the soil. Leave nothing for anyone to track. Claim what belongs to you without apology. Become what they fear. Weaponize their hatred. Wear it like steel plating. Feel that anguish. That's your energy source now. Feed on it. Let it drive you when exhaustion sets in. And when they come crawling back, pleading for mercy, begging forgiveness, don't even glance their direction. Because predators don't forgive. Predators never forget. You want strength? It's right here. In the ruins, in the crimson, in the fragments of everything they try to destroy within you. You think this is a game. You think you'll simply descend this mountain after everything you've endured, and they'll greet you with open arms. Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. You'll return, and they'll stare at you like you've transformed. And guess what? They're absolutely right. You have transformed. You're not the same person who began this ascent. And that terrifies them. Know why they preferred you weak. Because weakness is simple. Weakness is manageable. But you're not weak anymore. You're not the one they could manipulate. The one who stayed silent and obedient. That version of you is dead. Buried. And now they're lost. Unsure how to handle you. Here's the amusing part. They requested this. They wanted to witness what you'd become at your breaking point. They never believed you'd survive. They assumed you'd collapse like everyone else. Thought you'd disappear. Just another forgotten face drowning in an ocean of failures. But you didn't, did you? You clawed up this mountain, bleeding, scraping, hauling yourself forward with every ounce of will. And now you're standing at the peak, looking down at them, and they can't process it. Ever wonder why they despise strength so intensely? Because strength doesn't require permission. Strength doesn't wait for validation. You possess it now. Genuine strength, not the counterfeit version they pretend to have. And it consumes them, makes them feel insignificant, reminds them of everything they'll never achieve. But that's not your concern. You didn't climb this mountain for them. You climbed it for yourself. You fought every step for yourself. And now you face a decision. Descend and reveal what you've become. Or continue climbing, leaving them behind in the dust, never looking back. Do they deserve to witness this version of you? The version they tried so desperately to annihilate? Or do you demonstrate what true annihilation looks like? You dismantle everything they thought they understood about you. And you don't stop until nothing remains. Want to understand what it means to be a predator? It means you no longer follow their regulations. You don't wait for them to define your identity. You determine who you are. And they either align themselves or remove themselves from your path. They wanted a monster, then deliver it. Give them every fragment of fury, suffering, and appetite you've been restraining. Unleash it all. They assumed they knew you. They believed they could anticipate your actions. But now, they're confronting something incomprehensible. And nothing terrifies people more than the incomprehensible. This world doesn't need more champions. Champions perish. Champions get pulverized under the pressure of others' demands. But monsters endure eternally. They transform into myths, tales whispered in terror. They don't vanish. They don't get erased. And right now, you have the opportunity to become something beyond their wildest imagination. Ever heard the expression, "Be careful what you wish for"? They wanted to discover how far they could push you. They wanted to witness what you'd become when you finally fractured. Well, now they're about to discover. They believed they were constructing a monster they could dominate. But they were mistaken. Nobody controls you now. You're liberated. And that liberation, that's what makes you lethal. They're unprepared for you. Unprepared for the tempest approaching. That's their dilemma, not yours. You owe them nothing. Not your compassion. Not your pardon. not even your attention. You descend and seize what's yours, tear it from their grasp if necessary, and if they attempt to obstruct your path, you demonstrate exactly how real a monster can be. But understand this: being a monster isn't about senseless cruelty. It's not about chaotic violence. It's about precision, about knowing exactly who you are, exactly what you desire, and executing whatever's necessary to obtain it. It's about focus, about intention. Monsters aren't random. They're strategic. They perceive the world accurately as a war zone. And on that war zone, you don't triumph by playing honorably. You triumph by doing whatever's required to survive, to flourish. And you're a survivor. Never forget that. They wanted to break you, but here you stand, towering higher than ever. Now it's time to act. Time to stop concealing yourself. Stop waiting. Stop wishing for a better tomorrow. You seize that better tomorrow and forge it yourself. Want to know what being a monster means? This is it. You stop letting them define you. You stop letting them control you. And you reclaim everything they attempted to steal. Think they'll respect you for it? No, they'll fear you. And that's superior. Because respect evaporates. Fear persists. Fear maintains control. Fear ensures they never forget your name. Feel that chill in your chest. That's not weakness. That's your advantage. That's what distinguishes you. Utilize it. Wield it like a weapon. And never let them witness hesitation. Monsters don't flinch. Monsters don't second guess. They advance, unstoppable, relentless. And you're only beginning. You're nowhere near comprehending what you've entered, are you? Standing here, thinking it's simply about enduring, about surviving. But I told you, it's deeper than that, darker than that. You're not climbing this mountain just to claim you did. You're climbing because something inside you, something fundamental, shattered. You lost faith in this world. You stopped believing in second opportunities. You realized they don't exist for people like you, didn't you? They don't distribute mercy. Not to the broken. Not to those already beaten down and abandoned. They wanted a monster. You've heard it your entire existence, haven't you? They wanted to witness what would happen if they pushed you slightly further. If they stripped away your final fragment of hope. And when you snapped, they labeled you the villain. That's their strategy, right? They provoke and antagonize until you can't endure anymore. Then when you finally break, they act shocked, like they didn't create the thing standing before them. But here's the reality. And listen carefully, because I'm only stating this once. They don't hate the monster they created. They hate that they can't control it. That's why they fear you now. You stopped being predictable. You stopped being the person they could manipulate, exploit for their benefit. You stopped participating in their game. And once you did that, you became dangerous. Let me ask you something. When you examine yourself, truly examine yourself, what do you see? Do you still see that person who cared about their opinions? That person who worried about belonging, about acceptance? No, that person's long gone. What remains? That's the monster they created. And let me tell you something else about monsters. They owe nobody anything. They don't bend. They don't beg. And they certainly don't break just because someone demands it. Understand what I'm saying? They wanted to see what would happen if you reached your limit. Well, guess what? You are the limit. You're the thing they can't measure, can't contain. You're the thing they fear but don't comprehend. Ever wonder why people hate monsters so intensely? It's not because of what monsters do. It's because monsters don't conceal who they are. They're authentic. They're unfiltered. They're not wearing masks, pretending to be something they're not. Monsters are honest, brutally honest. And people, they despise honesty. They despise seeing what they could be if they stopped pretending. And that's what you've become. A reflection of everything they're too frightened to confront. You're standing at the precipice now. You can retreat. Crawl down this mountain. Pretend you're still one of them. Attempt to squeeze back into that broken mold they constructed for you. Or you can step forward and embrace what you've become. Embrace the fact that you'll never belong because you're not meant to. You weren't constructed for their world. You were constructed for something greater, something harder. Think monsters are born. No, they're forged. They're shaped in fire and torment, in the darkness most people flee from. And when you stop fleeing from it, when you confront it directly, that's when you realize you're not like them anymore. You've experienced things they can't even imagine, and you survived. No, you flourished. You grew stronger. And now, you're something else entirely. But here's the thing. You can't just be a monster. You must own it. You must own every scar, every injury, every drop of blood you shed on this ascent. You must wear it like a medal, like armor, because that's what it is. Your shield against the world that tried to tear you apart. And every time they look at you, they'll see that armor, and it'll remind them of what they did. It'll remind them that they failed. And you don't let them forget. You don't give them the satisfaction of witnessing you retreat, of witnessing you doubt yourself. You enter their world, and you own every inch of it. You make them uncomfortable. You make them scared. And when they ask why, you tell them, because you asked for this. You wanted to see what I'd become when you pushed me too far. Now you get to live with it. But don't misunderstand what I'm saying. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about settling scores. That's petty thinking. Monsters don't waste time on trivial payback. Monsters see the larger picture. You're not here to harm them. You're here to ensure they never forget that they can't break you. That regardless of what they do, you'll rise. You'll climb. You'll take what's yours. They think they can chain you to their rules, to their expectations. You incinerate those chains to ash. You rise above their limitations, their narrow minds, their restricted perspectives. You are beyond them now. You don't need their approval, their acceptance, their validation. You've got your own strength, your own power, and that's all you'll ever need. Ever wonder why people tell you to calm down, to relax, to be reasonable? It's because they see what you're capable of, and it terrifies them. They see that fire in your eyes, and they know that if you ever fully unleashed it, they'd be powerless to stop you. That's why they try to cage you, to control you. But here's the truth. Cages are for the weak, for those afraid to face the world as it is. You were never meant for a cage. You were meant to tear them down. So you want to know what comes next. You descend that mountain, and you don't just survive. You dominate. You take everything they said you couldn't have. You become everything they said you'd never be. And when they try to drag you down, you don't fight them. You rise so high above them that they can't even reach you. And if they still want a monster, you give them one. You give them the kind of monster that doesn't bend, doesn't break, and certainly doesn't bow to anyone. You become the thing they feared all along, and you don't apologize for it. You think you know who you are now, don't you? But this is just the beginning. You're standing on the edge of something greater than you could ever imagine. But to step into it, you must release everything holding you back. You must shed the last remnant of that person you used to be. You must embrace the monster completely. The people down there, they don't deserve the version of you that's still clinging to hope, still clinging to the idea that they'll change. They won't. They'll never understand you, never accept you, and that's okay. You don't need them. You don't need anyone but yourself. They wanted a monster. Then you show them what it means to be untamed, unstoppable, and unbreakable. You show them that the thing they created is more powerful than they ever imagined. You become the nightmare that haunts them, the force they can't control. And when it's all said and done, you'll stand at the top of the mountain, looking down at the world that tried to break you, and you'll know, deep in your bones, you're not just surviving anymore. You're ruling.